Hello and welcome back to Part 4 in my tutorial series on using lightsabers. The first three parts dealt with the three main elements that you need to put together for coherent lightsaber use or lightsaber routines. There was blade movement, in specific the figure 8. There was blade stopping, in specific the strikes, short strikes and large strikes. And the last one was basic footwork, just walking with the saber. This time around I wanted to introduce you to a concept, which is we do not need necessarily to stop the downward figure 8 in order to start an upward figure 8. A strike isn't necessary. The reason being, this is called a downward because my blade is moving towards the ground, an upward because my blade is moving away from the ground. The thing of it is, primarily you need to focus on whether your blade is moving clockwise or counterclockwise rather than up or down. The reason being, notice what happens with the blade moving in a large circular arc. And when it's on the right side of my body, moving clockwise, it's moving down. On the left side of my body, it's moving up. Okay, I call this the clock face because imagine the saber as an arm on a giant clock face. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Right, the key with this is, in that clock face, if I isolate things on my right, I have a downward wield. If I isolate things on my left, I have an upward wield. Downward wield, upward wield, and the blade doesn't have to stop in order to transition between the two. Right? Now you also notice that in order to transition from the downward to the upward, I have to move low through the 6 o'clock position. From the upward to the downward, I have to move high through the noon or 12 o'clock position. Right? Now integrating this with the steps in the others, think about it as, think about walking with the saber as we looked at in the third video. Okay? If I'm walking with the saber in downward, I bring it low, turn around, and I can walk with it in upward. I bring it high, turn it around, and I can walk with it in downward. This basic transition is what's going to allow you to move with the saber and pull off some of the more complicated moves. I would suggest practice that. Practice the downward, moving to the upward. Throw in a strike, and switch direction. Downward, moving to the upward. Right. Get used to how that feels and how your feet can move with it, and then join me back here for the next video where we will elaborate a little bit on that clock face.